Hello everybody and welcome to the Rev Check. Today we are once again in Ingolstadt to take a look at a brand new Audi model, the Q5 Sportback. So without further ado, let's get rolling.
The Q5 is a hit all around the world. It's even the best-selling Audi in the US. When it's launched, the Q5 Sportback will be available with 3 different engines, 1 gasoline and 2 diesel versions.
All of the engines have one thing in common, which is a mild hybrid system. But what does that offer you in everyday use? First of all, there are 3 different kinds of hybrid drivetrains: the regular hybrid, the plug-in hybrid and the mild hybrid. Regular hybrid and plug-in hybrid can power the car via an electric motor. The mild hybrid, on the other hand, cannot power the car on its own. It's just a little generator that will recuperate energy when you're braking and will then store it in a small battery. But what do we do with that stored energy in the battery? Well, the generator will then use the energy to power up the engine when it's off. So, for example, if you stop at a traffic light, the car will turn off the engine and then the generator will put it back on when you want to start again. But the main advantage you get from this system is that the car is able to coast. So if you're going at a steady speed, the car will shut off the engine and then simply let it flow. And that way you will save the most fuel.
All in all, you can save up to half a liter per 100 kilometers.
Another good point about that system is it extends the range when the start-stop system works up to 22 kilometers an hour. So if you drop below 22 kilometers an hour while approaching a traffic light, then the engine will be shut off and you will save some fuel. There are 2 different versions of the system, a small one with 12 volts for the smaller engines, so also the one we're using here. And for the bigger engines, so the 3-liter TDI versions, there is a 48 volt version of that, and that will save you up to 0.7 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers.
Viewed from the front, the Sportback looks like a near doppelganger of the standard Q5. In profile, you can instantly tell the difference and see why Audi calls the Sportback a crossover coupe. The interior features high-quality materials and excellent workmanship.
So the main difference between a regular Q5 and the Q5 Sportback is of course the downsloping roofline. But what does that downsloping roofline mean for passengers in the back? So as you can tell, there is quite a lot of headroom left and also the spaciousness for the legs. Another nice feature here in the back is that you can move the rear bench forward and backward. So if you decide you need more trunk capacity, then you move it to the front. And if you don't need that, you move it to the back and have a lot of space here. Despite the flat roofline, the Q5 Sportback lost only a few liters compared to the regular Q5. We're talking about 510 to 1,480 liters of trunk capacity, and that's quite a bit. So the engine we're testing right now is the smaller diesel, the 2-liter TDI 4-cylinder, 208 horsepower. It will accelerate the car in just over 7 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour, which feels quite sporty for a car that is rather heavy. The driving impression in general is of course very comfortable, just like you would expect it from a premium segment SUV. The 3-liter TDI I mentioned earlier is also available in a high-performance version, and that one can only be found in the SQ5. And this is the car that I will drive right now.
A sound generator adds some oomph to the diesel engine.
So as I mentioned earlier, the SQ5 packs quite a punch. 341 horsepower, a V6 3-liter TDI engine that propels the car from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.1 seconds, and that's quite a blast. You can go 250 kilometers an hour top speed, which is more than enough. Audi claims an average fuel consumption of just above 7 liters per 100 kilometers. So while driving, we have an average fuel consumption of a little more than 7 liters, 7.5 approximately, and that is quite a good figure for a car with that much power. Another thing that all the available engines have in common is the all-wheel drive system Quattro. There are, however, two different versions of this all-wheel drive. The regular Quattro for the bigger engines, and there is also a lighter Quattro version that Audi calls Ultra Quattro, and that system has the possibility to decouple the rear axle, and that way only the front axle will be driven and you will save some more fuel. But as the driver, you do not have the possibility to choose between 2 or 4-wheel drive. The car will do that fully automatic on its own. So this is the end of my Q5 Sportback experience. And if I had to choose one, it would be the SQ5, because it's so much more fun to drive. But there's one thing I have to admit, the radiator grille of the S5 is not as appealing as that one of the S-Line version is. So the perfect car for me would be the SQ5 with the S-Line grille.
So the Q5 Sportback is comfortable and versatile, and the mild hybrid system helps with fuel efficiency. But there are some downsides. There's no gasoline version of the SQ5, and the artificial sound enhancer should not be necessary. And hybrid or not, its emissions are still too high.